Welcome. Did I say welcome? I said welcome. Uh, my
Yes.
name is Leland Baptist, and I have our amazing host, and co-host, and partner, and wise counselor, Hank Hunt. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm everybody. I'm doing well. Leland, I'd like to apologize. I got off track yesterday. I have a tendency to go off on tangents when we're about to talk to people. Part of it is not because I'm absent-minded or don't know. It's just the idea that I get so excited about the path that we're on, the success path that we're on. Um, and if I can just sort of kind of be transparent, um, and the best thing that I can do is talk about me and some of the life experiences that have me where I am today. And I'm gonna, if you don't mind, if you'll let me try to see if I can truncate a few things that I wasn't aware of until I got to a point and I started to look back. Looked in the rearview mirror, so to speak. I grew up poor, family of six, living in a four-room house, no intention of going to college. Someone tapped me on the shoulder and says, "You're a pretty smart guy. You should go to college." I knew my family couldn't afford to go to college. She insisted. I fill out an application. I get a full ride to a four-year college. While I'm at college, the dean of students saw something, touched bases, made certain that I had a job to put money in my pocket, even though I had a full ride. Through him, the professor of military science, the head military guy on the campus, called me into his office and asked me to apply for an ROTC scholarship. Had no idea as to what ROTC was. Had no idea and no intention of joining the military. I was accepted, so now my college is taken care of, and I got money in my pocket as a college student. Joined the military with no intention of staying, and next thing you know, 26 years later, because someone saw something in me that I didn't see in myself because I didn't know. And I think with a lot of people, we don't know what we don't know, and the people that are we surround ourselves with don't know either. And sometimes because there's a certain competitive spirit of nuance around us, our friends will keep us from going ahead because there's a certain degree of jealousy or envy or what have you, and they will tug at us and just basically keep us from branching out. Man, you can't do that. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. I say all of that to say I have been blessed. Um, Life hasn't turned out the way I thought it should turn out because I didn't know how it should turn out. I didn't know what I really wanted, or maybe I knew what I wanted, but I hadn't decided. I did not have a plan. I did not have a strategy to get there. And I would just meet people along the way, like I met you through three other people. And here we are today after 2 years working on something that will change people's lives. I guess the point that I want to make, if I digress, the basic point I want to make is because I didn't know, I met some people that I trusted and I hitched my wagon to theirs. And in doing so, it wasn't about the money, it was about the experience, it was about the knowledge, it was about the understanding, it was about the growth.
Hmm.
And all those things happened. And as I sit here and I think about it, because I don't, you and I are free flowing. There are no scripts that we are sitting here following. If people are wondering,
Yeah,
they're
we,
like,
we, we don't have any scripts for
we're
you yet.
just flowing.
Yeah.
God continued to put people in my pathway to take some of the curves, the bumps, the detours out of my way without me realizing it. And along the way, I learned enough that I am able. I'm reasonably intelligent. I'm reasonably astute. I'm a risk taker. I think I have certain degree of humility. I am reasonably sociable. I'm trusting. I'm a lot of things, the sum total of which have me at the table today, allowing other people to hear, believe, change, discount, what have you. But I guess the last thing I'll say on this particular point is, if you don't know, find somebody that you think knows a little bit more than you know, and have a cup of coffee and have a conversation. Have breakfast, have lunch. But we have to be transparent. You remember when you and I met, I said, if you want to talk to me seriously about something, I would strongly encourage that you create a document so that we could talk openly. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
When I mentioned that to you, what were your thoughts back then when I said, "Listen, man, I'll talk to you, but I won't talk to you without a confidentiality or non-disclosure agreement." You remember?
I remember.
You thought I was crazy, didn't you?
I absolutely, I did.
You know, and I said, in essence, I said to you in so many words, this confidentiality, non-disclosure, is to protect me and to protect you. And you looked at me somewhat perplexed and said, but I trust. I said, no, it's not about trust. This is about business. And I think because I brought that to the table, you were willing to take a chance on me. And a few months later, you called me for breakfast. You remember?
Absolutely.
And the rest is history. And we're giddy now, right?
Yeah.
Now.
So much so, just real quick. I don't know if I told you this or not, but sometimes when I'm talking to some of the people that we partner with and we coach things like that, they actually ask and say, "Hey, are you and Hank related?" I'm like, "No, I didn't even know who Hank was 24 months ago. So no, we we are not related." But seriously, they think that
Mhm.
you and I are related,
Wow.
whether it is uncle or father or whatever. Seriously, I'm like, okay.
Wow. I'm flattered, but the thing is, you and I connected. I mean, we had free flowing conversation. We throw ideas out, and it's not one of those one-upsmanship. I realize that this is your pony. From Jump Street. But what I appreciate is that we can talk about any aspect of what it is that we're doing with genuineness. No one has ever been offended. No one has ever said anything. I mean, it's just it's harmony. And you said, let me think of that. And my favorite word is let me noodle it. Let me noodle it, and let's get back together. So what does that have to do with yesterday? And there are people who might be saying, well, dag, he's doing it again today. Well, I'm doing it today only because, again, my reticular activator mechanism is always activating. I'm always, well, I say always, I learned in school, always and never are words that you need to put on the side. I usually, most often, am thinking about how to improve my lot in life. And my lot in life is not having more money or having a bigger house or a fancier car. My lot in life for me is finding wholesomeness, finding peace with who I am, with what I am, and who I surround myself with. Now, there are people who go like, who you are and what you are. Hang on a second. I believe in life that we are one of three people, and this is my personal belief. We are as people see us, we are as we see ourselves, and we are as God made us, if you believe in the Almighty. And I strive every day. It's not a struggle. I strive every day to make those three individuals so similar that you can't get a knife between them in character, in integrity, in attitude, in relationships, in any way. I try to be the guy that you see today in front of the camera. You'll see me in a two-piece suit, or you'll see me in shorts and tennis shoes. I strive to be genuine. I try to be credible. I try to be a person of character. I try to have ethics. I try to have integrity. I try to be honest. I try to be a decent human being. So for me to get to those places, I can't get there alone. I tried it. So God has put people in my path along my way to say, hey, listen, I can show you how to, if you don't mind, I can show you how to dot that I or cross that T. Have you considered XYZ? And in conversations, they don't know how they're continuing to mold me to be a better me. And I've told you on more than one occasion, I truly appreciate you taking a chance on bringing me along, a stranger, and we have become very damn good friends.
Absolutely. And real quick, I want to just tie this in for anyone who is making excuses as they are quote unquote listening. Hear this very closely. The other day I was talking to somebody, and I'll keep this short, but I'll just say this: there are four types of assets, like four types of currency. We do have money, right? Everyone's aware of money. It's a currency. But then we have time, we have resources, and we have a network. And oftentimes people only think of one resource, which is money. Not knowing that just as one can increase their potential to earn money, working a second job or whatever else, you can also increase those other types of assets: a network, knowledge, time, right? So what Hank just mentioned was if you're willing to expand your network and partner and join with others that are going in a direction that you desire to go into, even if you don't know the entire step by step, but you're confident that you are moving in the right direction, that in itself will always build momentum. So much so that if someone chose to read the Bible, it says where two or more are gathered, in the midst is the Holy Spirit. It doesn't say
in my name.
It doesn't say one. It says two or more. That means that just in general, we're meant to do things not alone. So much so that last time I checked, when I read this book, it said that there were two put into the Garden of Eden, not one. If that one person could have did it all themselves, they wouldn't have needed to have two, and they wouldn't have needed to multiply either.
Leland, may I?
Absolutely.
We're talking about this network. I'm going to give people an example of something that happened within the last a month. A complete stranger came into my house to fix a problem. A contractor. In conversation, he just through conversation, he indicated that he and his wife, actually there's two situations. He and his wife were thinking about moving. And, like, well, wait, what do you do, Hank? Again, he doesn't know what I do. What do you do, Hank? And I mentioned to him what we do. And he said, wow, I said, "Where are you thinking about moving?" And he told me, and I said, "Well, why don't you just give me your address, give me some information, and I'll just do some analysis. I'll run some numbers, and I'll just provide some information to you." Only because I'm appreciative of what he did downstairs. Point I'm making to you is because he fixed something, because we were comfortable with one another, our networks expanded to the point that I found someone for future handyman stuff. But in addition, he found a way that he might be able to sell his real estate. For that same problem, and a general contractor came through another source who fixed the problem. And that individual, for whatever reason, well, I know the reason, but you won't believe me. Well, you won't believe me. Leland just said God is talking to you. That individual has invited Leland and me to a meeting on the 18th because his son is doing work with an investment group that has over $600 million in assets. And that man wants to introduce his son to me, and I want to introduce him and his son to my partner Leland. And then based on what it is that he was talking about, I called a friend of mine or ours who's a general contractor to see if he wanted to be part of the conversation on the 18th of November. Now, I could be blind, I could be greedy and never introduce those guys to Leland, or Leland to those guys. But as I said earlier, I'm a man of character and integrity. I got my eyes open and my ears open, and I'm trying to expand not just my network, but I'm expanding the network that Leland and I have built. I'm expanding the network that Rod and I have built. And we may bring someone to the table who's an architect. We don't know. I don't know where this is going to go, but I know that based on the initial conversation, I won't be able to do by myself what this group may need. I don't know what they need, but I'm going to have the right people, quote, the network on my side of the table. And after the conversation, we'll get together and say, hey, this sounds promising. Let's do something else and let's see what we can go with it. And I say that to say some of you are in situations where opportunities present themselves and you're either too arrogant, too intelligent, too lazy, or too greedy to take advantage. Now, you say, well, man, you're being insulting. No. It says why some people are not successful. You don't value time. They are everywhere, anywhere, anytime, because you lack the ability to dedicate, okay, to time towards your goal, which says you may not have a damn goal.
Or it says that you really don't value time.
And then you want to point the fingers at somebody else. So your economy. Okay, so hell, you might lose your job tomorrow. What are you going to do? If you don't have a network, you're screwed.
You're screwed. My mom would say that some people are crazier than a bed bug.
Yeah. Ooh, ooh. Growing up, we had them. I hated that, but that's okay. I'm just being, again, I'm. What you see is what you get. Yes, absolutely.
But something that's interesting is too many people are trying to play a team sport as an individual.
Oh, or they're with a group of people, and you remember talking to me about three-dimensional chess?
Yeah,
or checkers and chess. Okay, at the end of the game, Hut. I'm sorry. You feel me?
yeah. It's like we're in we are in an economy where I was explaining to someone how money is really an extension, or it's an example of belief.
Hmm.
Good, bad, or indifferent. Money is an example of belief. The reason I said that is because money is a fiat currency. This fiat currency cannot be exhausted.
Just print more.
So, in a moment's notice, I think actually as we're speaking, let's see how much money is being printed per
Bill, billions,
per hour.
billions.
Okay? So hear this out. Hear this out.
Okay.
The Bureau of Engraving and Printing produces 38 million notes a day with a face value of approximately $541 million.
Okay. A million, 500. Okay, million every day.
581 million is
Then
what's.
that's just the U.S. Okay, I feel you. Okay.
There you go. There you go. And that's just the United
That's
States.
Le- Leland. Here's another slap. What is the secret to getting ahead in life? And it says, and Mark Twain said this: the secret of getting ahead is getting started. I was like, well, damn, that was easy, But people don't like how it looks.
They don't like how
May
it looks
not like how it looks, how it smells, how it tastes.
or
And
where
it's
it comes.
like, well, but again, they love sausage, but hell, man, the process is ugly. Okay. So everybody wants to get to the end result. They want to get to the end without going through the process. And if you go to the if you just if you continually look at the end, you want the end results without the you'll never change. You will never learn anything along the way. You got a job and you want to go out and find the biggest car and the biggest house, and all of a sudden you can't make bank. And then you lose something, then you blaming somebody. You want to blame the economy. No, blame your damn self. You're trying to show off. Come on. I'm gonna say slow your roll. I'm preaching. I realize the fact I'm preaching, but when I'm not saying anything to you that I don't know or that I have experienced to some degree. You say, well, you can't get off a merry-go-round. Eventually it'll slow down. It may not stop, but it'll slow down enough for you to jump your butt off.
It may not stop, but it will slow down. Or actually, you know what? Let's if let's take it even deeper than that.
Okay.
Right now, we are all in a merry-go-round.
Woo. Woo.
We are in a economic merry-go-round.
Mm, mm, mm.
And for some of us, it has sped up so fast and so quickly that we haven't noticed.
Bring it.
So, if anyone who's a science major, you know that the Earth rotates. If you believe that it rotates, um,
It's flat.
you know, and so I guess the scientific theory out there is that it rotates so it
I'm sorry.
rotates so fast that you can't feel it. I think wasn't it last November, Hank, that the Earth, or a couple months ago, the Earth was rotating so quickly that we lost time.
Yes.
Okay, but
We
I'm
lose.
sure
Yeah.
some people
Yeah.
haven't even noticed that, right?
Yeah.
So if you are working and you're like, man, it seems like the days are getting shorter. It's literally, literally, the days have already gotten shorter. So here's what I'm getting at for the economy. We've been in an environment of hyperinflation before Biden took office.
Say, wait a minute, wait a minute. Say that again. So it ain't got nothing to do with red or
It has no-
blue.
it has no-
Okay, it is what it is, people.
it is what it is.
People.
We've been in hyperinflation actually since, let's see, hyperinflation started when we were taken off of the gold standard. If we can
Hmm.
truly be honest. So that
Okay.
was before I was alive. All right. So that would mean that our economy was already spinning, as
Hmm.
in spinning faster, and also spending faster. And as we would aid countries in wars by lending the United States money to other countries to rebuild those countries, as we would make those countries indebted to us, we began to speed up the spending, which then began to speed up the hyperinflation within a global economy. So no longer was it hyperinflation only taking place in one particular country. It then became hyperinflation, now having its tentacles to stretch throughout the entire globe. Now, some of you guys don't know what I'm talking about, but trust me, in a couple of years, you'll see what I'm talking about. So that would mean that 90% of the countries in the United States, excuse me, 90% of the countries in the world are already in some form indebted or tangled with the United States dollar. And
Big
because they're,
time.
and
Big
because,
time.
because they're already indebted to the United States dollar, the more spending that takes place because of inflation, the weaker those other economies get. Somebody will get that. You guys will get that in about a year. So because that is happening,
Hmm.
we've, we've already been in that kind of economy. So you have to think to yourself, if this is happening, if this is high, if I think they want to put the interest rates at 10%. Have you heard that, Hank?
Um, I I know it's supposed to go up high because they got to slow the spending, got to
Because,
slow. But Leland, but there are too many other there are global events that are happening that's causing inflation. We're so connected
oh,
that it's causing inflation here in the U.S. Supply and demand of stuff. Okay, now the government can only do so much. You know, you don't want them to print any more money, but you don't want them to do this, that, and the other. Do you realize that a gallon of gasoline in Saudi Arabia is more expensive at the pump than a gallon of gasoline in the United States? No, you don't believe that.
I believe it.
Okay.
I believe
So
it.
please don't just bite the first apple you come across. Because there are a lot of freaking apples out there, different types. Some are sweet, some are sour, some are bitter, some are tart. It's like, okay, hang on a second. And then what do you want to do with it? You want to eat it? You want a pie? You want a crisp? What do you want with the apple? But Leland, I ran across something and it says, what are 5 things you need to be successful? May I just go to it? I know getting ready to run short on time.
Yes, please.
It says, one, build high self esteem, believe in yourself, have confidence, like and feel good about yourself, take pride in what you do. Now, you may not believe it, but when I was pontificating about myself, I have high self esteem, so much so that people call me arrogant. Okay. But they don't know me anyway. It says, focus with a positive attitude. Always expect the best possible outcomes for what you do and set powerful goals. Give your brain a place to aim. I thought that was great because if you don't have anywhere, and then persevere, never quit. Now, one of my mentors of yesteryear, and he's dead now. His name was Jim Dornan, a very, very successful businessman. He said to us, and it's like, oh man, that was profound. He says, if you don't change where you're headed, you will end up where you're going. And just like I'm laughing now, I was at a table with people and I started laughing. They looked at me like I was crazy.
Mm.
Okay. But again, if you don't change directions, you will end up where you're headed with unintended consequences. So my question is to you, what in hell do you really want? Because until you decide what you want, you'll never get there. Never. I see you remember I said earlier, don't word never and always. You will never get there. I told you I didn't know what I wanted. I determined the type of life I wanted to live. And I focus on living that life without pain and worry and yeah. And I take steps every day to feel good about me. So what do you do to feel good about you? What are you willing to do to change? Because making money is easy. Keeping it and having it to work for you is a horse of another color.
It's difficult.
And again, you cannot get that by yourself. In fact, you remember yesterday we were talking about all of these really super, super rich guys, how they invest in one another's ideas and their businesses.
Businesses, yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that. They don't realize the fact that well, you might hear Buffett is invested X number of dollars in this, but those other guys you don't hear. But take a look. Take a look at what companies Facebook or what is it, Mega now, either owns or is invested in, or whether it's Google or whatever. Just take a look at what they're invested in, and who and what other companies or businesses they own. So they're constantly diversifying in great ideas and with people that they respect. And rarely do they criticize one another. Notice I say rarely. It happens sometimes, but rarely do they criticize one another. So if someone is truly helping you to get ahead, why would you waste time criticizing him or her? And they're helping you. Are you crazy? Come on, wake up. Decide today what you want next year. Deciding today what you want tomorrow is no, it's not enough reaction time. And remember, next year is 2 months away. So you better have a 3 month schedule. I mean, a 3 month goal. And if you don't, it's not too late. But decide, because I said in a previous um, recording, do you have any idea as to what it is that you're doing or not doing? Do you have any idea as to how it's impacting your family and your loved ones?
Mm.
So if you want to change your economy, there are a lot of side hustles out there, and you go like, I don't want to do that. I used to be in a situation, not a situation, but I was in with a group of people, and I would ask a question of these highfalutin folk, and I would say these people making $8 an hour, $10 an hour, $15 an hour, and my question to them was, would you shovel pig crap or horse crap or cow crap for $50,000 a year? And they would tell me no. And some of you listening go like, man, are you out of your mind? That's shit. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Are you making $50,000 a year doing what it is that you're doing now? In many instances, it's no, because you're making 8.35 an hour, 7.35 an hour. You're making 50,000, but now you got to pay taxes on it. You're making 100,000 and you're spending 110,000 a year. How you feeling? So you're making a half million. You're spending 750,000, 600,000 a year. You're in debt. But you're posing. You look real good. You look the part. But you're sweating bullets just hoping like hell nothing happens. We can help you fix your economy if you choose, but you got to decide, you know? And don't be so full of yourself because at one time in my life, I told my family, I said, to get out of this fix that we're in, I'm willing to work at FedEx at night to get us out of a pinch. And they said, "Oh no, Daddy, don't do that." I said, "Hang on a second. This isn't a decision for you. This is the decision for me. I need to make certain that the roof stays over your head, that there's gas in the car, that the car still run. All of those things. I need to make certain that they get taken care of." Didn't have to do it, but the point is, I was willing. So, what are you willing to do to save your family?
uh, some of them are saying nothing.
What? Nothing. I think there was a song. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Okay,
You know
so
what? You know what?
what, sir?
Nothing from nothing might actually end up being worse.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is.
In some cases, it can be worse.
hmm
So
hmm
here's the deal. You can't control the U.S. economy.
No, you can't.
You can control your own economy. And matter of fact, I'll depart everyone with this Bible verse. Okay, just real quick. Um, the idea is that you're able to use money for a network. That's what people should use money for. Okay, money should actually be used to network, to build a network. Here, let me get this Bible verse real quick, and then
We're building. We're building one, man. Oh boy, I was asking you the other day, why didn't I know you 35 years ago? And you said I wasn't born yet.
I wasn't born. I was not born.
and
Okay.
God said, and God said, just peace. I'm gonna send someone your direction. Oh man.
Check this out. This, and you guys can look this up. This is the book of Luke, chapter 16. I'm just gonna read verses 1 through 10, just real quick, just so you guys can get the idea. It says Jesus told his disciples, there was a rich man whose manager who was accused of wasting his possessions. First off, you want to think to yourself, am I someone who wastes my own possessions, my own talents and abilities and resources? You can answer that for yourself, okay? Verse 2. So he called him in and asked him, what is this I hear about you? Give an account of your management, because you cannot be manager any longer. So the manager said to himself, he said, what am I to do now? My master is taking away my job.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let me share this with everyone real quick. He says, what am I to do? My master is now taking away my job. He says, I'm not strong enough to dig, and I'm ashamed to beg. He says, I'm not strong enough to dig, but I'm ashamed to beg. All right. He says, you know what? I know what I'll do. When I lose my job here, people will welcome me into their houses.
Mm.
So he called in each one of his master's debtors. He asked them first, how much do you owe my master? Now this is old buddy's final day, by the way, guys. Like, he walks into work, The master's like, yo, what have you been doing, man? You've been stealing, you've been taking advantage, you've been misusing. What are you doing? So his master gives him one day to basically, get his stuff together, right? And what he chooses to do is he chooses to go out and look at the asset book of his master's company
mm,
and reach
mm,
out to
mm,
everyone that owes his master money and do the following. He says, so he called in one of his master's debtors and asked him, how much do you owe my master? And the person said, hey, I owe 900 gallons of olive oil. And the manager says to him, well, take your bill, sit down quickly, and allow me to make it, instead of 900, 450.
mm, mm, mm.
Then he asked the second, how much do you owe? And the man says, 1,000 bushels of wheat. And he told him, take your bill and make it 800. Now, check this out. Verse 8, it says, the master commended the dishonest manager because he had acted shrewdly. For the people of this world are more shrewd in dealing with their own kind than are the people of the light. That's a very deep meaning. I don't have all the time to go into it. Verse 9 says, I tell you, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourselves, so that when it, as in the wealth, is gone, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings. Eternal dwellings, by the way, does not mean heaven. So just you guys might want to look up that meaning. All right. So that is in verse 10. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much, and whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much.
Mm, mm, mm.
Well, so in conclusion, Hank, you mentioned something, which was some people are too prideful to quote unquote get a side hustle. Some people are too prideful to learn a new skill. Some people are too prideful to joint venture or have a mentor or have a coach. And yet they wonder why they're not able to obtain the success that they claim that they want.
Mm, mm, mm.
And to tie this in with this Bible verse here, what we have is those who are trusted with little can also be trusted with much. If you can't seem to budget your time, why in the world would someone think that you could budget their money?
Mm, mm, mm.
If you can't budget your time to at least gain a new skill to earn more money, why do you think you should be given more money to gain more money when you can't even budget your time? And your time is a more valuable resource than your money.
Wow, that's deep, man.
And we had a discussion last Monday with some of the people that are a part of our teams, and some people who have paid for us to mentor them and coach them. And we made it very clear to them by saying,
Hmm.
if we give you, for example, two leads on a platter with the exact offer prices and comps, the phone numbers and the phone systems to use, as well as the scripts for you to call the individual, as well as the automation to send a purchase agreement by pressing a button. If you can't make the time to send two purchase agreements in a 7-day period, what makes you think that you would actually
I'm sorry.
what makes you think that you would actually have the time, or you would even value the opportunity and the ability to actually close two deals?
And then those that didn't were offended. I said before, get off your can. You're waiting for someone to give you something, and there it is, and you don't take advantage of it. You don't take advantage of it. You take advantage. Please. As I told you before, my dad said, son, you be in a place in life where you say, I'm glad I did, rather than I wish I had. And we're providing an opportunity for you to be a blessing to your family and a blessing to yourself. Okay? If you're interested in getting from where you are to where you want to be, and you've got just a little bit of time, or you're willing to prioritize what you want and devote a little bit of time, you too could be given leads, documentation, systems where you have to make 2 phone calls. But a lot of people don't have the time, or they are scared.
Yeah, that's what it really boils down to.
Okay, scared to make a phone call.
Yeah,
Because we're not selling anything. We're asking people, are you willing? Are you doing XYZ? And if the answer to that is yours, do you mind if I'd like to send you X? And they'll go like, well, oh, yes or no. You send it, and if they like what you sent, they'll get back to you and says, hey, listen, let's go with it. I'm going like, man, this is crazy. Leland, where were you 35 years ago?
floating around
I was like, dang,
the ether.
that dag, just maybe for the first time in your life, take a sincere chance on you. Don't quit your job.
Correct.
Carve
Because
out a little bit of time and give this a try. You've probably tried other stuff where you didn't have a coach or mentor, and you fell and you go like, oh man, that was hard. Man, I lost this, I lost that. What did you learn? It's not what you lost. What did you learn? One, you learned that doesn't work. But what else did you learn? I don't know.
hmm
I don't know. Okay. You have a young lady that is just absolutely giddy because this is working for her and her family. She quit her daytime job to do this.
yeah,
And we were talking to a lady the other day, and she wants to do something for her grandkids and her kids. She's almost 60 years old, and she's going to make the investment to be part of whatever it is that we're doing. She said, this just makes too much sense. I'd be crazy not to do it. I'm not calling y'all crazy. Please, please. That's not who I am. I don't call names. I'm just giving examples or some expressions or what have you. Okay. But let me tell you this. If you choose not to make a change, next year this time you'll be the same person. Your situation might be worse.
it's gonna be worse.
It won't be better if you don't change. Okay?
Yeah,
And
it's
you
gonna be
you
worse.
you go to work scared that your boss is going to fire you or they'll reorganize it. And I was in a situation where I helped with the reorganization, and the slot that I was in was saved. Why? Because I was doing the reorganization. 2 months later, where was I? I wasn't there.
You are reorganized.
That's right. They said I was made redundant, as they say in Europe. I was made redundant. So again, that you say, man, this, that, and the other. This is crazy. Listen, we can help you to fix it so that you don't have to worry. You don't have to look over your shoulder. You don't have to worry. You don't have to be afraid to open the mail. You don't have to be afraid of opening the door or answering the phone. You won't have to be afraid again in your life. The choice is yours. It's up to you to do or do not. Because we're going to continue to have fun, and we're going to continue to change lives. We'd like to change yours. Come join us.
Yeah, we can only help you if you want to be helped.
Thank you.
We won't force you though. Okay, so if you like riding on the metaphoric struggle bus, by all means, buckle up.
That's it.
Because it's the economy, the overall economy. Yes, the overall economy is not getting better. We know that.
And it may not ever get better because of
And
globalization.
exactly. And if we can be honest, and Hank, I believe last year you and I spoke about it. Fed coin was something that was produced about 3 years ago. So
Hmm.
the idea was anyway that the currency was going to change anyway.
Hmm.
A cryptocurrency called Fed coin. If you want, you can literally go to the Federal Reserve's website, and they actually have various articles about Fed coin. So that's something
Mhm.
that they had already put into circulation. So they're
Not
not,
not Bitcoin, Fed
and
coin,
right
because Bitcoin is doing a lot of black market stuff, and they want to they want to capture some of that
active.
momentum. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not. It's again. It's not going to. Anyway, it's going to. Things are going to change.
Yeah, and I want you to be on the right side of the ledger when the changing is happening. And we say, come on over to our side. All right.
Yeah. All right.
You can contact me, and I can fill in some blanks for you. Cause see, I got nothing to hide. I am like everybody else. I'm a proud man. I'm a prideful man. I'm all of that other stuff. But because of what my struggles, I can tell you my struggles because I'm still standing, and I feel good about what's happening. God keeps on blessing me because I listen. You're gonna miss that because I listen, and then I do. Like Yoda says, do or do not. There's no try. So let's go make some money, people.
Because your livelihood, your family depends on it.
Every day, every day. And then when you start to do it, you have to learn how to control it. Don't have this typical impulse to go out and buy another shiny object to show people that you're doing good. No, fly under the radar. Let them think what the hell they want to think. But you keep holding your head high and just be smiling when they look at you like you ain't shit. And you be smiling and you go, you're right, I'm not. You missed that.
They'll catch you on the way home.
Thank you for recognizing that. Oh boy, Leland, I got to get off this, man. I'm about to blow up.
We will talk to you guys